A proposal by U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to introduce testosterone screening across the military is drawing criticism from medical experts. They say the plan carries more risks than benefits, while Secretary Hegseth argues it will keep the U.S. military on the leading edge of lethality. The critics also say it promotes an overly masculine vision of military power. Kate Fisher reports for CNA from Washington.
This is Pete Hegseth's vision of the U.S. military.
Let's go! Make your country proud!
Strong, tough, manly. The Secretary of Defense values physical performance so highly that he's announced a plan for what he calls a high-T Department of War.
I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best.
Screening will be mandatory for those aged 30 and above, with optional replacement therapy for those with low levels. Commonly known as a male hormone, testosterone builds muscle mass and bone density.
This initiative, it's not about artificial enhancement. It's about restoring and optimizing your natural capabilities, protecting your longevity, and ensuring you have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight.
Mr. Hegseth says high Ts will keep the US military on the, quote, leading edge of lethality. But medical experts are doubtful it will do much in a modern war.
It does increase muscle mass, particularly at high doses. Very little change at what we would call replacement doses. But you know, we don't fight that way anymore. It's not like we have soldiers that go off and they have swords and they need where muscle mass is the real big determinant.
America's Endocrine Society advises against routine testing for low testosterone in the absence of symptoms, saying that long-term supplementation could lead to over-treatment. Experts are also concerned about significant side effects.
One of the clear problems with taking testosterone is that it suppresses the man's own testosterone. So that, you know, it's almost like the body says, why should I work if I'm getting it from the outside? So it suppresses their level and it suppresses their sperm counts. So I think in a young man in whom they're basically sort of at the prime of reproduction, causing a drop in sperm count is not really what we as a society really would want.
The announcement comes amid a growing interest within defence circles in operator syndrome, a set of health issues observed in special ops veterans that have been linked to hormone deficiencies.
Yeah, we coined that in 2020.
The clinician who wrote the book on it believes these health problems are underreported due to stigma and says testosterone replacement therapy can help, but only as one part of a more holistic treatment plan.
So my hope, my optimistic belief, is that focusing on testosterone is part of a much larger picture and approach that will focus not just on testosterone, but hormones more broadly, sleep, diet, brain health, pain management, etc.
For now, there's no indication from the Defense Secretary that this would be the case. Nor is it clear what the screening will mean for women who also produce testosterone, albeit at lower levels. There is evidence to suggest that these restrictive views of male identity are becoming increasingly embedded in American life. A 2025 report found that 63% of men wished they were more masculine, but that these feelings were also linked to low self-esteem and anxiety over the economy.
As more members of the Trump administration champion these narrow expressions of masculinity, not only are they translating into government policy, but they're becoming increasingly normalized within American society, with the potential effect of pulling attention away from the bigger issues faced by American men today. For CNA, I'm Kate Fisher in Washington.
Mr. Hegseth's promotion of testosterone comes amid a broader embrace of the hormone and the contested idea that maximizing testosterone levels can boost your health and fitness. My colleague Poh Kok Ing tells us more about this trend.
A fascination with testosterone is growing, especially among younger men in affluent societies. So much so there's now a name for this phenomenon, T-maxing. Now, the thinking goes that if testosterone, the primary male sex hormone, is essential for sexual function, muscle building, and higher energy levels, then it must be true that the more testosterone you have, the healthier you are, more virile, more masculine, and some believe smarter and more successful in life. But doctors say a wide range of testosterone levels is considered normal. In fact, there's no single universal cutoff because T levels vary with age. What's typically considered normal by doctors for an adult man is between 300 and 800 nanograms per deciliter of blood. But everyone has a different baseline level, so it doesn't mean that someone who is 700 is healthier or stronger or smarter than someone who has 300. Now, typically, a testosterone count is not part of a routine health screening unless the person is experiencing symptoms of low T, such as a low sex drive, erectile dysfunction, infertility, fatigue, or loss of muscle mass. Now, there's a ton of advice online about how to maximize your testosterone. Some push for natural remedies like exercises to reduce body fat, getting enough sleep, staying off alcohol, and managing stress levels. There are also products marketed as natural T enhancers, though the evidence is generally mixed or weak. Now, some T-maxers choose to take in testosterone directly through injections, pills, or gels.
In Hong Kong, you can buy testosterone from some pharmacies without having doctor's prescription, mostly testosterone gel. So young people now are buying them as to make themselves more masculine in their appearance. Now, for example, to have bigger muscles and have more body and facial hair. But what they may not know are some of the side effects. First, the loss of hair on their head. And second, infertility, which can be irreversible. So when a person now takes testosterone externally, our brain now can detect that the testosterone levels are sufficient, and then our brain will reduce or shut down now our body's own testosterone production. So if you want to raise your testosterone levels, now the best advice is to do that now under the supervision of a specialist.
Now, there is another trend that's related to T-maxing, Looksmaxxing. Now, you can think of T-maxing as a subset of Looksmaxxing. T-maxers are primarily concerned with testosterone level and its supposed benefits. Looksmaxxing is a broader umbrella where people focus on the physical attractiveness from their face to their height as the key to success in life. We're not talking about simple grooming like having a skincare routine, but something that's potentially more extreme.
At the more extreme end, people buy into the idea that your success in life is determined by your physical attractiveness, like your jawline or your height, and especially success in dating. And we don't have official data, but certainly it's becoming more visible in online forums. Young men or young people in generally, they spend an incredible amount of time on social media, and they're exposed to a lot of appearance and body-focused content. You know, there's an endless stream on, seemingly perfect images. In my practice, I have seen a young Chinese man, early 20s. He had just completed his NS, and he went to China and spent about 50,000 Singapore dollars on having his legs surgically broken, the bone structure broken, and then lengthened, because he had a concern that he wasn't tall enough. And when you start going down into that rabbit hole, it's like, whack-a-mole. There's always another feature you can, seemingly improve in your appearance. And so it becomes that endless cycle of wanting to fix more and more to increase your self-worth. So that's the real issue.